721 days. That's how long it's been since we released Phone 2. And not a single video goes by without hundreds of you asking, Phone 3 when? The truth behind the glyphs. And by the end, you can decide if it was worth the wait after all. Why didn't we release it the next year?
We kind of, I think, originally decided that we were going to launch it next year as Phone 3 in 2024. The Phone 2A had come out and was very successful. There was a feeling that if we are going to do Phone 3, it's a big thing to live up to. And we really wanted to make a statement with Phone 3.
The original kind of concept design was so powerful, we knew that no one else was ever going to come up with this design.
Crazy to think we almost launched this phone 2 years ago instead of Phone 2. The team then walked me through the back of the phone. Not just the look, but the thinking behind it. There's a rhythm to how it lights up, a reason things are placed where they are. Plus, there's a hidden detail in here I promise 99% of you missed.
Oh look, there's 4A.
Yep, going to be removing that real quick so we don't have any leaks. Again for the fans.
Yeah, that was kind of first incarnation. This was second incarnation.
Where were you guys pulling inspiration from when you were working on this back design?
There's almost like a universal grid system, like this line here lines up with that there. So you can see that you've got these like 3 divisions across the width. And even Phone 2, like that line there, the width of that is matching here.
This has a better periscope in it than this. It's actually punched through the PCB.
Is that what gives it just a bit of like the sleeker design profile?
Yeah, this sits on top of the PCB. This module is smaller and it punches through. The dream is to just have a flat piece of glass across the back. So I feel like we got a good balance with this. It's very simple, it's kind of engineered, and if you compare it to kind of other flagship phones from other brands, they make a bit more of this area in it. Feels a bit heavier at the top, and in your hand it kind of feels heavier. I think we've done a sort of minimal job on this that makes it look rational and simple. The glyphs from Phone 2 have just all been gathered up together and put in the corner, but it's still the same representation of the hardware. It's the hardware speaking to you, you know.
Speaking of hardware, we're giving away one Phone 3 to one lucky subscriber who comments below. Now back to the video.
Any Easter eggs from the past ones that have come to fruition in this one?
Yeah, there was an intention going all the way back to 2A that this red square would actually illuminate to give us that video record light functionality. So this little red square has been sort of patiently waiting to come alive. It's super cool, especially when you see it in the dark.
So this is a flagship product. It's our most premium offering. This represents the tip of the iceberg, I would say, in terms of how much development that we had to do. We've got, for the first time, this kind of explicit grid going on. Just the sheer volume of parts that we have on display meant that we had to do so many iterations of models. But you can see, like for this white phone, you know, we sprayed out 6 really subtle variants.
Yeah, I can't tell the difference.
Every one of the parts that exists in here had at least 4 color variations so that we could hand assemble the kind of final intent using all of these little parts. And what we decided with this dark grey particularly, to go back to our kind of Phone 1 dark grey, which was a lot darker, a lot richer, and kind of feels quite premium. We go through loads of iterations of shades of anodizing, and quite often this will start from picking one colour and then we spread that out into, we get 5 shades, we agree on a target that we know that we can produce consistently. Trying to account for all of these tiny variations is, yeah, a lot of work.
Which of these 2 colors is your favorite, and why is it the white?
Ooh, it actually is the white. This red really pops off against it. It feels really kind of space age, and I love this silver.
How involved were you with the Glyph Matrix?
You know, we have to work really closely with engineering and the technology team to understand what they're trying to communicate, how much brightness there's going to be, how do we make sure that the resin that goes on top of it transmits enough light.
Why have we made the switch to the Glyph Matrix?
I guess the idea was, okay, how can we create an interesting sequence-based interface through which your device can communicate with you in a new way? The objective was, is there a way we can create this new language where we can allow just the most important information to come through and make everything else go away? People will ask, why do you not just put a display? But actually, out of constraints comes creativity. By doing a 25 by 25 pixel matrix, we can convey much more information.
It was a big engineering challenge. I think part of the reason why this project has taken so long is the leap in engineering from Phone 1 particularly to Phone 3 is huge, and we've achieved so much. The number of steps and the machinery and the kind of craft from individuals going into making these components is really quite incredible. Another big thing that we wanted to do for Phone 3 was to make the Glyph interface for the first time an input and an output. So by adding this little touch point, this Glyph button on the back, you can actually switch through features and you can curate from all the toys that we've designed and third parties might design, the community might design, the functionality that you want on the back of your phone without needing to pick it up and get sucked in.
We've designed a really long list of these Glyph toys, and by toys we mean these mini programs with a very constrained and simple function and interaction system. We want to have a bit of fun with it, so as well as the more functional things like the digital clock and the solar clock, the stopwatch, the battery level, the compass, we've got some fun experiences, so spin the bottle. And at least in Sweden, that determines who pays for the beer. And that's the version we're going with. We were very careful to either design everything by hand, so all of the toys are hand animated, every single pixel we've decided where that goes. And then for some of the algorithmic stuff, such as the Glyph mirror, we had many decisions to make about exactly how it would scale that image and sort of quantize the brightness and color levels.
For Phone 3, we really did want to create this kind of playground where people can develop this sandbox that they can make their own features. I'm quite excited about what people are going to make.
So is that it? Are we done with the Glyph light strips?
Yeah, I don't know. The designs are evolving, the glyphs are evolving, but they're not changing. They're still the glyphs. I think there's new forms of output that we're excited to explore. I wouldn't say they're going anywhere, but they might evolve.
All right, so what are we naming it?
Maybe it's the Jordan engine.
You guys heard that? Jordan Engine coming to Phone 3?
Done.
Thank you, boys.